I love today's daily word, and I love the line that stuck out to me was focus is key. It's just amazing that we live on such an amazing and wonderful, awesome, awesome planet. I have always been and continue to be blown away by the marvels of this world. I'm that guy who takes a lot of photographs of streams and brooks and groves of trees and countless photographs of the clouds as they are forever changing in the sky, sunrises and sunsets and moons that begin with a tiny sliver of crescent and become full. I marvel at the beauty of this world. I believe that it is stunning. And a lot of people who know me have acknowledged to me that I'm not like you. Yes, on occasion I look at the beauty of the world and I marvel at the clouds and the trees and the forests and the streams, but there's so much other stuff, so many other things that vie for my attention, so many things happening in the world and in our country that need my attention and my focus. I feel like if I take a break to marvel at the beauty of the world and the clouds and the trees and the streams and the planets, that I'm taking away time from something that is more important than pausing to marvel at the beauty of the world. There are so many, many shadow experiences that need to be addressed. There's so much division, so much inequity. There's so much hatred, so many wars and rumors of wars. There's so many politics, so many laws that are changing, so many rights that are denied, so many people. And once I give my time to keeping up with all of these challenges in the world, I find little time to simply pause for the cause of marveling. And I've asked some of these people over the years, what is it that you believe? Your faithful focus on these shadow appearances. What is it that you believe you are bringing into the light out of the darkness? I mean, I know numerous people who are on pretty much a constant news feed with an intention of searching for and therefore finding another and then another and then another and then another reason to be fearful, another reason to become agitated, another reason to become angry. What is it that you believe your attention and your focus is doing? How is that helpful? And they have said, well, I want to know everything that's going on and everything that needs to be prayed about and everything that needs to be changed. And focus is key. And those who are committed to looking for the shadow and finding it do give a testimony to me that it is exhausting, that it is draining, and that it does not allow much room for peace and joy in their own hearts and in their own minds. Focus is key. Yes, we live in an abundant world, and there is an abundance of anything we choose to look for. Is there an abundance of shadow-like appearances? Yes. Is there an abundance of light-filled appearances? Yes. I have told people what I received as a personal instruction from the Spirit decades ago for myself. If there is peace in the Middle East, and there is no peace in my own heart and mind, how does that serve me? If people in other places turned their swords into plowshares, and I do not, how am I served? Lately, I've been speaking in about 5 different churches, and I don't know which ones I've shared what with when I get on to a Zoom. And so I know not whether I shared this with you previously. But a couple of months ago, as I went to bed, Timothy came into my room and he shared a piece of news with me. That was not an uplifting piece of news. It was something he thought I needed to know. And he left my room, and I realized that I was not in as deep a level of safety and peace as before he shared the information. It was political information preceding the election. And as I went to bed that night, I thought of one of the candidates for the election for president. And I thought, I wonder what's wrong with this person. I wonder what they're missing. What didn't they get? What were not they taught? What example for love and equality did they not receive? And I went to bed. And in the middle of the night, I was awakened by the voice that awakens me often and disturbs a lot of my TV watching and book reading. It just speaks when it speaks. And I'm compelled to grab a pen and an index card and write what it says. Almost every song that has ever come through me is not a song that I've written, it's a song that I've received. I'm sleeping. The voice awakens me. I grab a pen and index card. I scribble as quickly as I can in automatic writing and go back to sleep. And when I wake up, I read what came through during the night. One of the candidates was male and one was female. So I will not use a name. I will use a pronoun. In this case, the pronoun was a male pronoun. I don't deceive myself into believing that everyone has a challenge with the people that might be challenging for me. I'm only aware of who presents a challenge for me and calls me into greater work of opening my eyes more widely and looking for the good. Anyway, I was awakened in the middle of the night. I grabbed my pen, I grabbed my index card, and I scribbled as quickly as I could what I was hearing. And I entered back into a deep sleep. And when I woke up, this is what I found I had written. And once again, my apologies if I have shared this with you previously. But if I did, it was meant to be repeated today. This is what I saw on the card when I awakened. He is suffering. He is suffering. He is suffering under the misguided and erroneous misconception that he is better than you by a long shot. And nothing could convince him otherwise. I felt pretty good and affirmed having read that much. True, I said to myself. This is true about him, I affirmed. But the writing had continued. And this is what it continued with. And you, my dear, you are suffering. You are suffering. You are suffering under the misguided and erroneous misconception that you are better than him by a long shot. And not even the tongues of 1,000 angels could convince you otherwise. I was blown away. Here on this index card, I was reading what the Spirit disturbed my sleep to inform me about. He is suffering under the misguided and erroneous misconception that he is better than you by a long shot. And you, my dear, you are suffering. You are suffering under the misguided and erroneous misconception that you are better than him by a long shot. And not even the tongues of 1,000 angels could convince you otherwise. I could not help but respond to the man in the mirror. And I thought, sometimes I can be under the erroneous misconception that I am being the light of the world and that I am being the one who brings peace and love to a situation, only to discover a glaring question: am I? Am I an agent of peace when I am sitting in an idea that I am better than him by a long shot? Does that bring light to darkness? Or does it not increase the darkness of the shadow? The entire shadow is a display of separation. And the idea of I'm me and you're not, we're us and they're not. Am I a part of the problem or the solution? After our service last Sunday, we went at 2:00 to a universal service where there were members of all the faith paths that are in the area. We had the Jewish community. We had the Muslim community. We had a tribe of the Native American spiritual wisdom community, Buddhists. Hindus, Sufis, and a number of Christian paths. Unity, New Thought, Universalists, Baptists, Methodists, and on and on. And each one was called forward to represent why their path is their chosen path. And I was blown away by the many of us who enjoyed being in the company of the rest of us, being reminded that there is no better or worse, no right way or wrong way. There are many ways. Many, many ways to God, many names for God, many rituals dedicated to the reconnection of our identity in God. And one of the paths, the minister from the Baptist church, I must give him credit, because when he stood up, it was toward the end of the program, and every other path was all about love and light and oneness and unity and embracing. And he had to announce the truth of his path. And he said, this is a weird place for me to be in. It basically boiled down to him saying, you all seem to think you have God, and you seem to think that you are secure in the love of God. You seem to believe that you are not in need of salvation. When what I have come to say, that my path believes, is that each and every one of us in this sanctuary has been born in sin and is living in sin and will perish with an eternity of damnation in a place called hell, except you receive Jesus Christ as your Lord and your Savior. I have come to say that this is the only way out, and that the Baptists have found the only way to secure a place in heaven. I was so grateful that I had already been awakened from the dream and read my index card about you, my dear. Think you are better than him. And so as my Baptist brother was speaking with fervor and with furor, I sat there in a state of bliss, because I had been awakened to the knowing I will not think I am better than him by a long or a short shot. We are all equal. Each of us has the right to exercise our own belief. Let me be ever grateful that I have found the path that works for me and that others have found the path that works for them. Focus is key. And a focus on the forwarding of heaven on planet Earth requires that I continue to look inside the contents of my own mind and heart and continue to discover whether I am a part of the problem or a part of the solution. I must continue to remind myself and to remind my brothers and my sisters that there are two wolves fighting within us, and that one wolf is fighting for us to live in fear and to live in division and to live in an idea, an erroneous misconception that I am better than anyone by a long shot or a short shot, that I am better than anyone, period. I must come to know that I am a child of God, among the children of God. And that's what's going on. That awakening of that dream night, it sponsored a deep inner reflection process for me to take a 3-day period of spending 3 hours each of those days in meditation on a journey of self-discovery, a deep dive into my own mind and into my heart to see where I might be thinking I'm part of a solution, but I'm actually being a part of the problem. Wow. Wow. One wolf is fighting for me to feel like the victim of something or somebody. One wolf is fighting for me to live in fear and in anxiety. One wolf is fighting for me to think I am better than somebody else by a long shot. And I am standing solid in this belief that I am better than somebody by a long shot, such that the tongues of 1,000 angels could not convince me otherwise. It's so funny, yet so not funny. The big and little things I discovered about myself. I discovered that I feel like I am better than the people I live with because I recycle and they don't. It knocked my socks off when I discovered that that was a belief inside of me. I clearly care more for the planet than you do. You throw your cardboard and your plastic and your bottles into the trash to go to the dump. I fold my cardboard. I put my bottles and cans into a bag and I curb them to be recycled. I did not know I had that thought until I searched to see what thoughts I am holding. Oh my God. I give to a half dozen charitable causes. I know many who give to none. It is an insidious, creeping, crawling snake that seeks to convince us we are better than any brother or any sister at any time. One wolf wants me to live in a state of self-righteousness and holier than thou-ness, while the other wolf wants me to see the equality of all God's children, to know that we are one self, indivisible from our Creator. One wolf wants me to quiver like a reed shaking in the wind. The other wolf wants me to stand strong and tall with faith in a positive outcome, like a tree planted by the waters that cannot be moved. Which wolf will win? The one I feed the most. How much time do I give to feeding on the news of the world and its catastrophes, its inequities, its causes for fear and anxiety? How much time do I give to meditation, to prayer, to breathing deeply and going into my heart, to affirming beautiful affirmations, to marveling at the beauty of the world, Which wolf am I feeding most? A friend of mine who I hired to be a gardener on my property this summer said, Reverend Carlos, I wish there were a science to peace. I said, there is, buddy. It was clearly laid out by your brother Paul in the book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 8. Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. The science of peace is a mind science. The call to focus upon these things is important because, as that one line in the daily word that Brother John read for us this morning said, focus is key. Let's focus on faith and a positive outcome. Let's marvel at the beauty of the world, and let us come together to realize I am no better than anyone else, nor am I less than anyone else. The created ones of the one Creator are equal in their essential nature. His essence is of God, and therefore he is inherently good. Period. Amen.